Leticia James just got caught doing what she accused Trump of. We're going to break that out for you. And we're going to hit Marco Rubio's going to explain why it's so unfair that certain refugees get benefits that end up taking away some of your benefits if you're on retirement or if you're a taxpayer. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. This is going to be a doozy. Watch this. So first, this is the big Leticia James case. This is a report. Attorney General Leticia James' property holdings spark questions. An investigation into Leticia James's finances have raised questions about inconsistencies in her property portfolio. According to a recent analysis by White Collar Fraud, a Virginia property she lists at under $150,000 has mortgage debt surpassing $400,000 and unusually high loan-to-value ratio. Property marked as an investment showed no income in her latest disclosures. So the property's not making any money, and that becomes looks like a misapplication or a misreport of her property. Let's get in here. Leticia James's puzzling property portfolio raises new questions. After a recent investigation exposed New York Attorney General Leticia James's pattern of luxury campaign spending and creative accounting, which is what they got Trump for.
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Leticia James and Mark Schroeder. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today.
A deeper examination of her personal finance disclosures reveals troubling new questions about her property holdings and financial reporting. The same pattern of obscured luxury that characterized her campaign spending now emerges in her personal financial statements, starting with a Virginia investment property that defies financial logic. Purchased in 2020, James values a single-family home at $100,000, under $150,000 in her 2023 financial disclosure. That's to find out how much she has to pay on property taxes. Yet somehow, this same property carries mortgages totaling up to $400,000, potentially more than twice the declared value. This loan-to-value ratio appears to be extraordinarily high. Standard lending prices typically limit total financing to be no more than 80 to 90%. That's why you have to put 20% down on most houses of a property's value. For investment properties here, the mortgages potentially exceed 250% of the property's declared value, raising serious questions about either the accuracy of the reported value or how much financing was obtained. I just want to go back and remind you of what she accused Trump of in this article from ABC News. This is back in last year. Trump civil fraud case. Judge finds Trump $354 million, says frauds shock the conscience. That's for defrauding lenders. Former President Donald Trump has been fined $354 million plus approximately $100 million in interest in a civil fraud lawsuit that could alter the personal fortune and real estate empire that helped propel him to the White House. In this decision, Judge Arthur Engeron excoriated Trump, saying the president's credibility was severely compromised, that the frauds shocked the conscience, and that Trump and his co-defendants showed a, quote, complete lack of contrition and remorse that he said borders on the pathological. I just want to say Leticia James was doing the same thing, valuing her own properties while she was prosecuting Trump for the same thing. You know, the Bible warns us of holding someone else to a higher standard than you hold yourself. It's what human nature is. You raise the standard on someone else like a political opponent, and then you drop it for your own side, or especially for yourself. Now that's very troubling. Let's go back to the other article real quick. So this is back on Beyond the Campaign. The Virginia property isn't the only real estate holding raising eyebrows. James's Lafayette Avenue, so many properties to keep track of. Her property in Brooklyn presents an even more striking set of conditions when comparing her calendar year financial disclosures against the city's fiscal year assessments. According to her calendar year disclosures, the property's value surged by 42% between 21 and 22, jumping from $2.2 million to $2.5 million to $3.2 million to $3.5 million during roughly the same period. However, the city's fiscal year assessments tell a dramatically different story, showing a 7% decrease in the property's market value from 21 to 22, dropping from $1 million to $975,000. The property also carries a complex web of financing with these separate mortgages, three separate mortgages. How many of you have three more separate mortgages on your house? So this is about a pattern of opacity, they're saying about her. Let's go now. So could she get tried? Shouldn't Trump put her on trial for the same thing? If she put Trump on trial, shouldn't she be on trial? And then I hope they also pull Judge Engeron from the pool so we can look at what she did and say, oh, this does not, challenge the conscience and seem to be psychologically problematic like Trump's was. Now, here's Marco Rubio, and this one is on refugees. So what he found is refugees come over from Cuba. So the reason why they get elevated status to be able to come here is they go, we're oppressions of Cuba, we're oppressions of communism, or we're victims of government persecution. We let them in as refugees. They get all of our benefits, welfare, EIB, food stamps, free medical, sometimes housing, free education. And then they take their money and they go back to Cuba and take like 15 visits in a year. Does that sound like they're a refugee running from Cuba? Marco Rubio has that exact question.
One of the things I see a lot in South Florida are people that have been in this country that maybe came from Cuba 45 years ago. They've worked here their entire lives. They retire. They get $800, $900, $1,000 a month from Social Security. And then they run into somebody who just got here from Cuba 3 months ago, is 29 years old, doesn't work, and is given $1,500 a month in benefits by our government because they're refugees. That refugee, a year later, is traveling back to Cuba 15 times. So you're a refugee fleeing oppression from a place that you now go back and visit 15 times the following year. And in the meantime, we're giving you Medicaid, food stamps, health care for your children, cash payments from the refugee fund. So imagine if you've been working here for 40 years and your Social Security check is smaller than the benefits going to a 28-year-old. Able-bodied person who just got here. That's real. That happens. That's happening every day. That makes no sense.
So you've paid into this system your whole life, and then you pull out your Social Security check, and some 28-year-old kid comes off a boat who has not paid into the system at all and is getting more money than you. More of taxpayers' money than you. Does that make sense? Marco Rubio has busted this fraud wide open. This is not going to go on under Doge. This is the kind of stuff that Trump is going to fix. They're not only going to punish them, but I hope some of this money gets redistributed back, for instance, to the elderly, to not make them pay taxes on their benefits, on their forced distributions where you have to take money out of your retirement. Let's lower those taxes for the retired. I'm Doug in exile. Does Leticia James go to court? Let me know. How about jail?